Philosophical Harmony, exploring the connections between Buddha and Stoicism. Hello, welcome to Canal Academy for Modern Stoic. In today's video, we will explore a fascinating topic, Buddha and Stoicism. At first glance, these two philosophies seem very different, coming from completely different cultural and historical contexts. Buddha, the founder of Buddhism, lived in ancient India around the 6th century BC, while Stoicism emerged in ancient Greece in the 3rd century BC. However, when we look closer, we find surprising commonalities between these two philosophical traditions. If you, like me, are curious and like to explore the concepts of the most varied philosophical aspects and their relationship with Stoicism, consider subscribing now to watch the other videos and be part of this journey of knowledge. Now, about today's video, let's start with a brief historical overview. Buddha, born Siddhartha Gautama, was a prince who renounced luxury to seek spiritual enlightenment. After years of meditation and asceticism, he achieved awakening and began teaching the path to the end of suffering, known as the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. Its central teaching is that suffering is part of life, but can be overcome through correct understanding, ethics, and meditation. In turn, Stoicism was founded by Zeno of Citium in Athens. Developed during a period of intense social and political turmoil, this philosophy taught the importance of living in harmony with nature and reason. The Stoics believe that virtue is the only true good and that we should focus on what is within our control, accepting the rest with equanimity. But how can philosophies so far apart in time and space have common ground? What lessons can we learn by comparing them? Throughout this video, we will uncover the similarities and differences between Buddhism and Stoicism, and discover how their teachings can be applied in modern life to achieve a fuller, more virtuous, and meaningful existence. Stay with us for this journey of discovery and reflection. The Buddha, the Four Noble Truths and accepting suffering as part of life. At the heart of Buddha's teachings are the Four Noble Truths, which begin with the acceptance of suffering as an inescapable part of human life. The first noble truth, dukkha, recognizes that life is permeated by suffering, be it physical, emotional, or existential. This truth is not a call to pessimism, but an invitation to lucidity. Recognizing the reality of suffering is the first step to overcoming it. The second noble truth, samadaya, identifies the cause of suffering, attachment and desire. Buddha teaches that it is our longing for temporary pleasures and our resistance to pain that perpetuate the cycle of suffering. The third noble truth, nirodha, carries a message of hope. Suffering can be overcome. By extinguishing attachment and desire, we reach nirvana, a state of peace and liberation. Finally, the fourth noble truth, magga, presents the path to the cessation of suffering, the Noble Eightfold Path, which includes ethical, meditative, and wisdom practices. A Stoicism, dichotomy of control and the importance of focusing on what we can control. The Stoics, in turn, offer a similar perspective through the concept of the dichotomy of control. Epictetus, one of the main Stoic philosophers, emphasized that some things are within our control, such as our opinions, desires, and actions, while others are outside our control, such as health, wealth, and the opinions of others. A Stoic wisdom lies in focusing exclusively on what we can control. Accepting what is beyond our control is essential for peace of mind. As Epictetus said, it is not things that trouble us, but our opinions about them. This principle is central to Stoicism and echoes the Buddhist acceptance of suffering. The Stoics teach that we must accept reality as it is, without being disturbed by external circumstances. This focus on acceptance and personal responsibility allows individuals to cultivate an inner tranquility regardless of external storms. Deep similarities. Both philosophies, although from very different contexts, emphasize acceptance of reality as a crucial step towards inner peace. Buddha teaches us to accept suffering as part of life and to work to overcome it through detachment. The Stoics, on the other hand, teach us to focus on what is within our control and to calmly accept what is not. These approaches are not passive resignations, but rather active practices of engaging with life in a more conscious and serene way. They invite us to look within, to develop an internal strength that allows us to face reality with courage and wisdom. Buddha, the Eightfold Path, and the development of qualities such as compassion, wisdom, and mindfulness. In Buddhism, ethical practice and the development of virtues are central to the path to enlightenment. The Noble Eightfold Path, which is the fourth noble truth taught by the Buddha, offers a detailed guide to achieving nirvana and living a full and meaningful life. This path is made up of 8 interdependent practices that help cultivate compassion, wisdom, and mindfulness. 1. Right view. Understanding reality as it is, especially the Four Noble Truths. 2. Right intention. Develop an attitude of renunciation, goodwill, and nonviolence. 3. Correct speech. Avoid lies, gossip, harsh speech, and frivolous words. 4. Correct action. Adhere to ethical behavior, avoiding actions that cause harm to other beings. 5. Right livelihood. Choose a profession that does not cause harm and is in harmony with ethical principles. 6. Right effort. Making a conscious effort to abandon negative mental states and cultivate positive states. 7. Correct mindfulness. Maintain full and constant attention on the body, feelings, mind, and phenomena. 8. Correct concentration. Develop the capacity for deep and calm concentration through meditation. These practices are not just a code of conduct, but a path to transforming the mind and achieving deep wisdom and compassion. Mindfulness is particularly emphasized as a tool for keeping the mind focused and present, allowing for a more conscious and ethical life. Stoicism. The 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. In Stoicism, virtue is the supreme good and is essential to achieving eudaimonia, or complete happiness. The Stoics identify 4 cardinal virtues that are fundamental to a virtuous life. 1. Wisdom. Sophia, the ability to discern what is truly good, understand the nature of things, and make rational decisions. As Seneca said, wisdom is the only safe freedom. 2. Justice. Dike assigned the commitment to morality and equity, treating everyone with respect and doing what is right. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "To live in harmony with nature is to live in justice." 3. Courage. Andrea, the strength to face fears, pain, and adversity with dignity and resilience. Epictetus stated, "No great thing happens suddenly, but in small stages." 4. Temperance. Sophrosyne, moderation and self-control, balancing desires and actions to avoid excesses. This is in line with the famous Stoic maxim, "Nothing in excess." These virtues are interconnected and work together to form an individual's character. Stoics believe that the constant practice of these virtues leads to the good life, a life in accordance with reason and human nature. Deep similarities. Both Buddhism and Stoicism place significant emphasis on virtue and ethics as paths to a fulfilling life. While Buddha's Eightfold Path highlights compassion, wisdom, and mindfulness as central practices, Stoicism emphasizes the 4 cardinal virtues as foundations of character. Both philosophies promote a life of virtue not just as an end in itself, but as the means to achieving deep inner peace and harmony with the world around. They encourage the development of qualities that transcend ego and worldly concerns, leading to a more meaningful and balanced existence. These ethical approaches and virtues provide a powerful framework for self-development and personal transformation, showing that despite their cultural and historical differences, both Buddhism and Stoicism offer rich and complementary paths for cultivating the mind and spirit. Buddha. Respect for all forms of life and the pursuit of material detachment. Buddha taught that living in harmony with nature is essential to achieving inner peace and enlightenment. Respect for all forms of life, from humans to animals and plants, is a fundamental principle of Buddhism. This respect is reflected in the practice of nonviolence, ahimsa, and care for the environment. Buddha also emphasized the importance of material detachment, teaching that desire and attachment to possessions are sources of suffering. By detaching from material things, Buddhist practitioners can live more simply and harmoniously, focusing on spiritual growth and compassion for others. Stoicism. Living in accordance with nature and reason, seeking simplicity and self-sufficiency. For the Stoics, living in harmony with nature means aligning oneself with the natural order of the universe and acting in accordance with reason. The Stoics believe that nature is rational and orderly, and that human beings, as part of nature, should live in a rational manner. This involves accepting external circumstances over which we have no control and focusing on the internal development of virtues. Simplicity and self-sufficiency are valued as they help to reduce distractions and focus on what really matters: virtue and character. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize that nothing is missing, the whole world belongs to you." Buddha, the importance of meditation to achieve inner peace and wisdom. Meditation is a central practice in Buddhism, essential for achieving inner peace, wisdom, and, eventually, enlightenment. Buddha taught several meditation techniques, such as mindfulness meditation and concentration meditation, samatha. These practices help to calm the mind, develop greater awareness of the present moment, and cultivate qualities such as compassion and wisdom. Meditation allows practitioners to observe their thoughts and emotions without becoming attached to them, promoting a state of serenity and mental clarity. Stoicism, techniques such as daily reflections and visualizations to strengthen the mind and character. In Stoicism, reflective practices are fundamental to the development of virtue and character. Stoics recommend daily reflections on actions and thoughts, evaluating whether they are aligned with the principles of virtue. A common technique is afternoon meditation, where you review the day and reflect on what was done correctly and what could be improved. Another Stoic practice is negative visualization, where one imagines losing valuable things to prepare oneself emotionally and value more what one has. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on impermanence and the nature of life, using these reflections to strengthen his commitment to virtue. These practices help Stoics maintain serenity in the face of adversity and focus on what is within their control. Buddha, Buddhist agnosticism and focus on individual awakening. In Buddhism, the question of the existence of a god or gods is generally treated with agnosticism. Buddha, in teaching the Dharma, did not emphasize deity worship or speculation about the divine. Instead, he focused on the path of individual awakening and the practice of the Eightfold Path to achieve enlightenment. For Buddha, the key to freedom from suffering was not believing in a deity, but understanding the nature of reality and cultivating virtues such as compassion, wisdom, and mindfulness. This practical and psychological approach aimed at internal transformation and overcoming desire and attachment, which are seen as the main causes of suffering. Stoicism, varied views on divinity, from pantheism to theism. Stoicism, on the other hand, presents a variety of views on divinity. Some Stoics, such as the philosopher Epictetus, believed in a god closer to pantheism, seeing God as the universal reason or logos that permeates all of nature. This view considers God as the rational and ordering force of the universe, with which human beings must align their lives to achieve virtue and eudaimonia. Other Stoics, such as Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, also discussed the nature of the divine, but their interpretations varied between a provident God who intervenes in human affairs and an impersonal force that guides the universe. Regardless of the specific view, the Stoics agreed that living in harmony with nature and reason was essential to virtue and happiness. The Stoic quest for wisdom and self-mastery was therefore compatible with different understandings of divinity, as long as these promoted virtuous and rational living. Buddha, nirvana as a state of liberation from suffering and the cycle of rebirth. For Buddha, the ultimate goal of spiritual practice is to reach nirvana. Nirvana is a state of freedom from suffering, desire, and the cycle of rebirth, samsara. Upon reaching nirvana, an individual frees himself from the mental impurities and illusions that cause suffering, entering a state of peace and bliss. This state is achieved through the practice of the Eightfold Path, which includes ethics, meditation, and wisdom. The Buddhist journey is deeply introspective, focusing on inner transformation and developing a deep understanding of the nature of reality and the mind. Stoicism, eudaimonia as a state of well-being and human flourishing. In Stoicism, the concept of freedom is linked to the idea of eudaimonia, which translates into well-being or human flourishing. For the Stoics, eudaimonia is achieved by living a life of virtue and rationality, in harmony with nature and the universal logos. Freedom, according to the Stoics, is the ability to live according to one's own reason, without being enslaved by irrational passions and desires. Stoic practice involves cultivating the cardinal virtues, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance, and calmly accepting events that are beyond our control. Through self-discipline and self-knowledge, Stoics seek to achieve a state of inner peace and contentment, regardless of external circumstances. Buddha, emphasis on meditation and introspection to achieve enlightenment. For Buddha, wisdom is fundamental to freedom from suffering. The path to wisdom involves rigorous meditative practices, which help develop mindfulness and concentration. Vipassana meditation, or insight meditation, is especially important as it allows the practitioner to observe the impermanent and interdependent nature of all phenomena. Through meditation, Buddhists cultivate a deep understanding of reality, overcoming the illusions that cause suffering. Continuous introspection and reflection are essential to advance on the path to enlightenment. Stoicism, valuing study, logic, and reasoning to develop practical wisdom. The Stoics emphasize the importance of study and logical reasoning as a means of developing practical wisdom. For them, philosophy is a tool to understand the world and guide life in a virtuous way. Stoic wisdom is acquired through the study of philosophical works, daily reflection on one's thoughts and actions, and the application of philosophical principles in everyday life. Stoics practice techniques such as negative visualization, preparing for adversity, and daily review, which help strengthen character and mind. The goal is to achieve clarity and serenity, living according to reason and in harmony with nature. How to integrate the teachings of Buddha and Stoicism into everyday life. Both philosophies offer deeply enriching practices for contemporary life. Mindfulness and self-compassion practices to deal with suffering. Incorporating moments of daily mindfulness, whether through formal meditation or simply being mindful of everyday activities, can help cultivate greater understanding and acceptance of life's challenges. Self-compassion, central to both Buddhism and Stoicism, teaches us to treat ourselves with kindness and understanding when we face difficulties. Development of virtues such as resilience, responsibility, and equanimity. Resilience, the ability to adapt and grow in the face of adversity, is promoted by the mental and emotional discipline found in Buddhist and Stoic practices. Taking responsibility for our actions and emotions, as taught by both philosophies, is essential for developing a full and virtuous life. Equanimity, the ability to maintain calm and inner stability in all circumstances, is also a common value that can be cultivated through reflection and conscious practice. Cultivating gratitude and appreciation for the present. Both Buddhism and Stoicism emphasize the importance of recognizing and valuing the present moment. Practicing daily gratitude, whether through a gratitude journal or simple conscious reflections, helps us cultivate an attitude of appreciation for life's small pleasures and meaningful interpersonal relationships. Examples of how to apply these principles in different areas of life. Interpersonal relationships, using compassionate communication techniques, such as active listening and expressing genuine empathy, can significantly improve the quality of personal relationships. Resolving conflicts peacefully, seeking to understand the other's point of view and finding solutions that benefit both parties, reflects the principles of equanimity and responsibility taught by Buddhism and Stoicism. Professional life. In the workplace, integrating the teachings of Buddha and Stoicism can mean working with a clear purpose, aligned with personal and ethical values. Responsibility at work, not only in terms of carrying out tasks, but also in the way one interacts with colleagues and clients, can strengthen professional integrity and promote a more harmonious work environment. Mental well-being. Managing daily stress with mindfulness techniques and relaxation practices can promote greater mental resilience. Developing emotional resilience, through the recognition and acceptance of one's own emotions, contributes to more robust mental health and a greater ability to deal with everyday challenges. Similarities and differences between Buddha and Stoicism. Throughout this video, we deeply explore the surprising connections between Buddha and Stoicism, two seemingly distinct philosophies that share fundamental values. We observe how both emphasize the acceptance of reality, the development of ethical virtues, and the cultivation of a life in harmony with nature and reason. At the same time, we highlight their different views on divinity, freedom, and the paths to achieving wisdom and well-being. The positive impact that the teachings of Buddha and Stoicism can have on our personal journey is undeniable. While Buddhism invites us to find inner peace through compassion and meditation, Stoicism strengthens us with its ethics of responsibility and emotional resilience. Integrating these philosophies not only enriches our understanding of the world, but also empowers us to live with greater purpose and wisdom. I invite you to dive deeper into this fascinating comparative study between Buddha and Stoicism. Explore the works of Buddhist and Stoic masters, practice their techniques, and reflect on how these teachings can transform your life. Together, we can cultivate a more compassionate, resilient, and aware society. Don't miss the chance to subscribe to our channel for more content about philosophy, well-being, and personal development. Leave your comment sharing your experiences and insights about Buddha and Stoicism. Let's learn and grow together.